Hey guys, welcome back. I didn't expect to be creating this video just yet. After I got feedback from one of our viewers, I actually went ahead and did a little bit of research. I thought it was going to take me a little longer, but I found one resource that actually answered all the questions that I had. Pretty much he was asking me what visa process I went through and how I got here. For me, it's a little different. I have Spanish citizenship from my grandfather. I went through a bunch of paperwork when I was around 18. It was quite a lengthy process before I was able to get it. But that brings the question how the majority of people who don't have these citizenships or a European citizenship, how will they transfer to Spain? How will they move to Spain? The majority of people that are in their youth and want to come to Spain, they have to go through a bunch of different visa processes. So I've actually went ahead and I did a little research. I found a website that covers every single visa option. And I'm going to show it to you real quickly over here. So this is one of the websites I found. I'm going to put the link on it below. That way you guys can check it out right after. It goes pretty much through all the visa and work permits that you can acquire in Spain and pretty much in the European Union as well. Obviously, if you're coming from another European country, it makes this process a lot easier. It literally is just like picking up your stuff, moving to the other country without even going through any passport checks or anything. You just take your national ID or your passport, and then after 90 days, I believe it's after 90 days of being in the country, you have to then report yourself to the authorities that you are going to be establishing residence in that country. But it's pretty much just like signing up if you're a European citizen or you belong to one of the other countries within the Schengen area, it's called, that have the international treaties with the European Union. Now, if you are a US citizen, you are actually allowed to come to the European Union for up to 90 days without a visa. Now, if you did want to stay longer, you would have to apply for a different type of visa. I believe most of the visas, you do have to apply for them before coming. So if you were going to come here for the 90 days and then decide to stay, you would actually have to leave Europe, go back to the United States, and then apply for the visa that you want. Here are a few examples of visas that you can apply to. As you can see, there's the ones with residence without a work permit. Typically for those, you will need a significant amount of money to prove that you can financially sustain yourself. Family reunion ones as well, typically the person that is living in Spain will have to show that they have the financial means to sustain you, or I believe maybe you can even prove to them that you will be providing for them as well. But as you can see, these are the different types of visas. There are a few others. Each visa process is pretty unique. There's a bunch of different documents that you'll need for each, so that's why it's hard to really get into these visas and transitionary documents. It's not something easy to go through each and every single one and what documents you'll need, but if you do have one in mind, look into it. This website seems to go really in depth into every single one of them, so this is a really good resource. I'll leave the link down below. Keep in mind, you will obviously need some of these basic documents, so make sure that you have all these up to date before you go and apply for these visas. So this is an example of one of the schools that I found. I had actually seen their ad next to the Bernabeu, and I got some information out of them a few years ago. Pretty much what they do is they offer the student visa, and with the student visa, you're allowed to work up to 20 hours a week after getting the certification. I believe it's for a year, and then you could keep renewing, or they have to sponsor you at the job that you'll have. This is one of the biggest ins that a lot of Americans have when they're coming to Spain. That's why a lot of them start teaching English, and then eventually they either find love and get married, and then they get their papers in check. But the reality is not everyone wants to do that. But if you do want to give a test to the Spanish lifestyle, this is an excellent way of trying it out. Now, as you can see, it's actually a 4-week intensive course. They give you the certificate, which is an international certificate, so that's actually pretty good. Now, I'm just giving this company as an example. I don't know anything really about them other than what I've seen on the website and what they have communicated with me by email. And depending on your Spanish level, they do also offer classes with Spanish courses at one of the local universities. They even have an option here actually where they offer you accommodation for this one. So this one's a pretty good starting course for anybody who, well, doesn't know Spanish and does not have accommodations set. But this could be easily replaced with an Airbnb or something like that. Now, like I said, if you're coming from a country that has international agreements with the European Union, typically it's a lot easier, especially if you are one of the ones inside the European Union that are not part of the EU, but part of the Schengen area. That's super easy. But if you're coming from the US, which does have international agreements with the European Union, obtaining a student visa is pretty simple, or not simple, but a lot easier. Now, one of the cool things that a lot of these programs offer is that they have connections pretty much with a lot of the schools in Madrid and academies, and so they'll offer you actually a work guarantee. And if you read right here, even if you're not from the European Union, you actually do qualify to work up to 20 hours a week with the student visa. So you are guaranteed at least a 1-year teaching job, and if the school or academy wants you, they'll just renew that contract, or you'll find another one. But eventually what will happen is after, I believe, 5 years of living here, you will be able to qualify for residence. Now that is if you want to continue that, or if you are skilled and you do find another job that will sponsor you, then you can go through those steps. But if you want to just teach English and do that, then you can continue with that. Alright guys, well thanks for watching. I'm going to leave the links to all of these down below. That way you guys can check these out and pretty much do any more little research that you might need to do based on your visa. These are a headache, honestly. There's so many different visa types and ways to transition here. The easiest one could say is just marry a European citizen, but I mean, not everyone wants just to marry someone for citizenship, but that can be a little expensive also. But yeah. But if you have the drive and you really want to come to Spain, and if you have the savings, you could do this for 1 year and then maybe establish yourself in a different way here. Alright guys, well that's everything I'm going to be showing. I'm going to leave the links and everything down below. That way you guys can go ahead and research any more things. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll try to answer, like I said, the best that I can. And if you have any other suggestions, questions, or comments for future videos, go ahead and leave them down below. And if you haven't seen my other videos, go ahead and check them out. I'm going to be covering weekly topics relating to my transition here to Spain. So if you like this content, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. And if you want to keep seeing this content, go ahead and click subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.